Hi everyone, this is Mahmoud Sheikh, and from past few videos I have been working on developing a lecturer's management system using PHP CodeIgniter, Ajax and jQuery. In my last video I completed the functionality of designing this card and this tab based system so that whenever a user click on qualification tab, a different div gets loaded. Okay, and whenever a user clicks on the professional tab, another div will get loaded with its form elements. Okay, so this is what I had covered in my last video, and in this video I will discuss about creating this personal details creation form. Okay, so whenever a user logged into the system, and if that user wants to add their profile, then that user will go and click on this drop down where that user will find this add profile link, and when the user click on that add profile link, this form or this page will be displayed to the user, where user can add the personal details, qualification details, professional details and skills details. Okay, so now in this video I will be discussing about creating this personal details form. Okay, and I will also discuss about developing the functionality of storing the personal details of that user inside the MySQL database. Okay, when the user gets logged in for the very first time in this system, then that user will not be uploaded their personal details. At that time, a default image will be displayed to the user, okay, along with the name of that user. Okay, once the user uploaded their personal details and their profile picture, immediately the data will get saved, and that data also gets retrieved from the database, and all those details will start displaying inside this text boxes, and an image also will start displaying here on this card. Okay, so exactly the way the information displaying here, the same way all the details will start displaying inside this form and image along with the department and designation as well. Okay, so all these things will be going to cover using ajax, jQuery and CodeIgniter. Okay, so before starting this video I would just like to tell you guys that if you like this video, click on like button, share it with your friends and subscribe to my channel so that you will get regular updates of my upcoming videos. Okay, so now let us start developing this functionality of adding the personal details of a user. Okay, so for that first we need to go to our add profile PHP file. Okay, so let me just take you to my project. Okay, so here I have opened my project, and here add profile .php file you can see. Okay, so here these things, designing the tabs, I have already covered in my earlier video. Okay, so now the thing which I need to cover is creating this form, personal details form. Okay, so let me just come here. Okay, so here I have created a div inside 6-column layout. Okay, so inside this 6-column div I have a div where I have created the tabs. Okay, see, this is my tab. Okay, ul, which are this personal, qualification, professional and skills, and then immediately after that I have created another div. Okay, and this div with the class tab gets closed here. Okay, and this div is 6-column div. Okay, which present above this tabs. Okay, and then this ul starts here and ends here, and then immediately after that unordered list I have created a div. Okay, with a class as tab content and id my tab content, and then inside that I have created another div with an id as personal. Okay, so this id belongs to this tab. Okay, so whenever I click on this personal tab, this div will get loaded. Okay, so to display this div I have assigned an id to this div, and that id is personal id, and that ID I have referred here inside this anchor tag. Okay, next, inside that I have created another div to display the message to the user whenever user added their personal details. I will be displaying the user a message as data saved successfully. So for displaying that message I have created that div. Okay, and then here with the help of h4 tag I am displaying the personal details label. Okay, and from here I have created a form. Okay, so in this form I have created an id attribute. So this id, which is personal form, I will be using in my jQuery code for sending an ajax request to my server. Okay, let me just show you that the id is personal form, and here I'm using that id. Okay, so on submit event. Okay, next thing is I'm using the method post. That means I'm sending a post request to the server, and I have another attribute which is enc type, which is encryption type. I'm setting it as multi-part slash form data. Okay, why I need this encryption type as multi-part slash form data? Because with this form I'm sending both text as well as image data. Okay, so whenever you will be uploading text as well as image data which is of multiple form of data, then you need to include this enc type, encryption type, as multi-part slash form data. And inside that I have created a form group which started here and ends here, and inside that I have created a row. Okay, which is this complete row. Okay, so in the first row I have added father name input box and mother name input box. Okay, you can see this row I have divided into two sections. First section of column 6 and another section of column 6. In the first column 6 I have displayed this father name text box. Okay, so this is my row, and inside that row I have created a 6 column div which is this for father name, and another 6 column div I have left for this mother name text box. Okay, so here inside that first 6 column div I have created a label which is father name. Okay, and then I have created an input form with the attributes as name equals to father name, class form control, and id as father name. Okay, so I have given it an id as father name which I will be going to use refer in my jQuery code. Okay, so let me just show you that this father name id and mother name id for mother name text box I will be using the same IDs here in my jQuery code. Okay, so whatever IDs I will be assigning to these form elements, the same IDs I need to mention in my jQuery code. Okay, so to get the data that user will be going to enter inside those fields. Okay, so I hope you guys have understood. So first input box I have created for father name, and then second input box I have created for mother name. Okay, id is my father name, and then I have set the value attribute to the value which I want to get from the database. Okay, so here what I have done is I have written a function in my user model. Okay, the name of this function is check personal info. This function is accepting user id of that user who is currently logged in. So in this function I'm joining users table and personal table, and I'm getting the details of users table and personal details such as id of the user, username, follower count, father name, mother name, designation, department, gender, mobile, date of birth, marital status, and user file. All this information I'm trying to get inside both of these tables. For that I have written this function, and I'm making a call to this function inside my user.php file here. Okay, so inside add profile function I'm calling this check profile info function, and this function will return me all the details only when the user uploaded their user profile or personal details. Okay, so now let me just show you that. Okay, so now I'm going to add a record for a user Michael Brown. Okay, here I have entered the details, personal details of that Michael Ron user, and I have uploaded an image as well. Okay, so now what happened is whenever I try to click on submit, as you can see here, this update button is disabled now because I have not uploaded the information yet. Okay, so once I successfully uploaded these details, then submit word button will get disabled and update button will get enabled. Okay, so now when I click on submit, this data will get stored inside the personal table. Right now I don't have any data in my personal table, so when I click on the submit button, this data will get stored. Let me just show you that. I have click on submit button, you will see a message, and immediately after that you might have seen the image of that user along with their designation and subject start displaying on this card, and these details which I have uploaded gets fetched from the table and start displaying inside this form along with the image as well. Okay, so what I have done is, here you can see, as I had told you, that I have written a function in my user model PHP file which gets the details from the users and personal table only when user uploaded their personal details. Okay, so now since I have uploaded the details of user, personal details of that user, now you will see the data gets stored inside this table, and image also gets uploaded inside the uploads folder in my project. Okay, so now personal details of user Michael has now stored inside the table. That's why this function will return that row of a user Michael Ron, and that information will come here. So from here I'm passing that information in my add profile view in the form of an array, and in my add profile page I'm accessing that, which is this personal data. Okay, so here what I'm doing is I'm checking here if the user who is currently logged into the system, if their personal details is already been stored inside the MySQL table. Okay, then get those data and display the father name information inside the father name text box. Okay, and here also I am setting up the value for mother name. Here also I am checking if the details of that user is saved inside the table, then get only the mother name information from the table and then display that information inside this mother name text box. Okay, so why I have done it, the moment when I click on submit, okay, I also want to get the data fetched from the table and start displaying inside these text boxes. Okay, so that's why I have set a value as personal data. Okay, then I have set the value of the father name as personal data father name. Okay, then this is a placeholder. Okay, so here as well. Okay, so if there is no record present inside the personal table for that user, then I can't display anything, then these text boxes will be empty. Okay, so I hope you guys have understood. Okay, so here I have set the value attribute to the mother name information of that user. Okay, next I have created another form group with a row, and this row also I have divided into two sections. First section of column 6, where I have created the department text box. See, name department and ID as user department, and for this as well I am displaying the name of the department the moment when user uploaded their profile. Okay, just now you have seen that process, how I'm accessing the data from the table and displaying it to the user the moment when the user uploaded that profile. And next I have created a text input for designation. Okay, ID as user designation and name as designation, and then I have created another form group with a due row, and I have done the same thing. I have created two sections, first section of 6 column and another section of six column. In the first six column section, I have created a drop down for gender. Okay, and in the second six column, I have created a text box for mobile. Then next, again I have created a form group where I have created a date of birth text box. Okay, when the data comes back from the database to display it on the text boxes, I want the date details to be displayed in the format of month, date and year. That's why I have made some changes in the format of the date here. Okay, so that date format I am displaying here inside the date text box. Okay, and then I have another drop down where I'm displaying the details of marital status. And then lastly I have another form group with a row, and it has a six column section where I have displayed an image. I have created an image tag where I'm displaying the user file. Okay, and then I have created the upload image button. Okay, so now the next thing is, which is the last thing of this form, here I have created two buttons. One is submit and another one is update. Okay, so here I have taken an if condition which says if the user personal details already stored inside the table, that means user has already uploaded their personal details. If that is the case, then I want this submit button to be disabled. Now in this case I want the submit button to be disabled, which you can see disable equals to true, and I want the update button to be enabled. Okay, and I have enabled the update button, which is in this case. Okay, now I have uploaded the personal details of that user, and you can see the submit button is disabled now and update button is enabled now. Okay, now if I want to update, then I can easily update. And in else part, what I have done is, if the user has not added their personal details yet, then at that time the submit button will be enabled and update button will be disabled. Okay, so this is how I have designed my add personal details form, and here the form gets closed and here the div gets closed, which is this personal id div. Okay, so now I hope you guys have understood how to design this add profile form for this system. Okay, and now as I had already told you in the beginning of this video as well, that I'm sending an ajax request to my server, to the controller. Okay, and for that I'm passing the id of this form. Okay, so this id I'm using in my jQuery code. Here I have written the jQuery code. Okay, here I have written the document.ready function, and here I have used the submit event. Whenever the user submit the form, okay, I will get the details of the user form. Okay, I will get the father name information from the father name text box, mother name information from the mother name text box. Okay, so how I'm getting this information? Because I had assigned the IDs, these IDs to forms. Okay, ID, father name ID, mother name ID. Okay, then user department ID, here user designation ID. Okay, so I had given the IDs for each and every form element. So with the help of these IDs, I'm accessing those text boxes values inside my jQuery code. Okay, so now these variables will store those values, and here I'm checking in my if condition, if the user tries to submit the form without entering any information in all the text boxes, or if the user tries to submit the form by leaving any of the text box blank. Okay, in that case I will be displaying an error message to the user saying that all fields are required. Okay, so now if the user has entered all their details properly, then I will be making an ajax request to this URL. Okay, I will be making an ajax request to add user personal info function of a user controller. Okay, and I will be making a post request, and I will be sending the form data. Okay, then control will come here in the add user personal info. Here I have created that function. From inside this function I'm collecting the details of the form inside these variables. Okay, now I come down. Okay, so here I'm getting the user ID of the user who is currently logged in inside this user ID variable, and mother name information, department, designation, father name, gender, mobile, date of birth, all these details I'm storing inside these variables. Okay, along with this information I'm also setting up an config array to store the details of the folder where I'm uploading my image. Okay, I will just remove this PDF. Okay, so I also need to mention the name of the folder inside which I'm going to upload my image. Okay, so as you can see I have created an uploads folder, and I have given a name of that folder which says I want to upload the folders inside this upload image, inside this upload folder. Okay, and here I also mention the allowed types, like I want user to upload only GIF image, JPG image, PNG image, which has the maximum size of 100, maximum width of 1024, and maximum height of 768. Okay, and here I have assigned the name of the image which user will be going to upload inside the server. Okay, suppose user is uploading an image whose name is jacob.jpg, then this image will be storing the name called as jacob.jpg. Okay, but what I have done is I'm not storing the images with the names, I'm replacing the name with the user ID of that user. Okay, so now you can see, suppose the user image whose user trying to upload is having the name as jacob.jpg, then I will explode that image by considering this dot as a delimiter. Okay, so that's what I have done here. Here I have exploded that image by considering this dot as a delimiter, and I have passed the name of the image inside this explode function. So what this explode function will do is it splits the name of this image into an array, where in the 0th index of that array the name of the image will get stored, which is Jacob, and I will store that name inside this file name variable, and in the first index of that array JPG, which is extension, will get stored, and I will store that extension inside this extension variable. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to replace this Jacob with the user ID of that user who is currently logged in and who is trying to upload their profile. Okay, so that's what I have done here. I have changed the name of the image to the user ID of that user, and then I have appended the extension which is JPG with that user ID. Okay, and then I have assigned that name to the file name, and then again I pass that file name to the of config array. Okay, so now I have replaced the name of the image from jacob.jpg to 2.jpg. Okay, next time when another user gets logged in, and if that user tries to update their personal details, and if the user ID of that user is 3, then the image name of that user will get replaced to 3.jpg. Okay, so now I have collected all the personal details of that user, which is father name, mother name, and department, and all these details along with the image name of that user. Now what I have done is I have stored all these details, all those personal details, in the form of an array, and I have given it a name as personal data. Okay, as you can see here I have stored all these user details, personal details, inside this array. Now I will going to pass this array inside my add personal data function. Okay, so before that, here I also need to include the library, upload library. Whenever I want to upload images, then I also need to include the upload library, and to this upload library I have passed the config array. Okay, which contains the details of uploaded path, allowed types, max size, width, height, and file name. Okay, I also need to include that as well. And here I am checking if this image upload works perfectly, then what I will be doing is I will send this personal data array to the function add personal data which I have created inside my user model. Okay, let me just take you to that function. Okay, so here I have created that function add personal data, which accepts the personal data, and here I have written the insert method of db class. Okay, so here I'm inserting the personal details of the user inside the tbl personal table. Okay, so now from here, if the data successfully gets stored, then it will return a value. Okay, and that value I will check here, and then based on that return value I will send a message to my add profile.php file where I have written the jQuery code. Here in this success function, it will come to know if the data successfully gets saved inside the table, then I will display this personal message to the user. Okay, if the data gets successfully saved inside the table, I will be displaying this data saved successfully message, and this is the id of that div which I have created here at the top. See, this is the id to display that success message to the user. Okay, so now once I display a message to the user as data saved successfully, then within a fraction of seconds, okay, I will be reloading the page. I will reload the page to get the data from the table and display it to the user. Okay, so this is everything about developing the functionality of adding a personal details record. Okay, so now I will add one more user to my system. Okay, so for that, here I need to register one more user. Okay, so now let me just see how many users are registered now. Okay, so I will go to my users table. So here you can see I have registered 3 users. Okay, but I have entered the personal details of only one user, which is Michael. Okay, so this record belongs to Michael. Okay, so now I will add the personal details of Jacob as well. So now let me just log out from this profile, and now I will log in as another user, and I click on submit. It will load the user view with a message as user dashboard and the name of the user who is currently logged in. Okay, now I want to add the personal profile. Okay, so now I will enter the details of that user. Okay, so now I have entered the personal details of this user, and now you can see, since I have not uploaded these details yet, at this time the submit button is enabled and update button is disabled. Once I uploaded these details to the server, submit button will get disabled and update button will get enabled. Okay, so now let me just click on update. Okay, so when I click on update, you will see a message gets displayed, and the moment when I click on submit button, the detail of that user start appearing in this form along with their profile image and designation and lecture. Okay, and all this information will start appearing inside this text boxes. Okay, so in this video we discussed how to develop this functionality of uploading the user details and getting these details at the same time from the table. Okay, using PHP CodeIgniter, ajax and jQuery. Okay, so I hope you guys have understood everything whatever we have discussed in this video, and in the next video we will come up with updating the personal details of a record. Okay, so we will see you guys in our next video, and thanks for watching.